Oh, hello. I'm doing my second and well, long awaited by one person, video on my subclade, the people who share my subclade, which is mitochondrial DNA passed down from mother to daughter, etc. D4B1C-D3. And on my list I have 10 people. And so far, I've just done one, the Buriats. I can't say that was a very popular video, unfortunately. I'm not going to do all, did I say 10? I'm not going to do all of them because one or two of them, there's only like 100 people left, which is a terrible, terrible thing. I mean, these are indigenous Siberian and a couple of them Chinese, one Alaskan peoples, and their land has been taken from them. And their populations are dwindling. So tonight I thought I would talk about the ones in northeast China, which used to be called Manchuria, and in northeast China there's a part called Inner Mongolia, which is the Mongolia is underneath it, country that's independent Mongolia, and across the border you get something called Inner Mongolia. Same people, Mongolians, but they are part of the People's Republic of China. So I'm talking about the Oroqen, and that's where they live in some places in northeast China and Inner Mongolia. I think there are a few in Mongolia, but not many, about 49 people. Unfortunately for them, there are only, according to what I could get off the internet, there are only about 8 to 9,000 Oroqen people left. So that is really bad news. And even worse, I think their language is becoming extinct. So that's why I think it's important to talk about these indigenous relatives of mine. And my sister's still doing so much DNA and genealogy research. She's found out that we have got pygmy blood, Polynesian, indigenous South American relatives as well, Polynesian relatives. Yeah. They're not ancestors, they're relatives. And she's finding out at the moment about people that are more recent, Victorian times. Very fascinating. She sent me 2 brilliant pictures of 2 great-grandparents, but I can't put them on the video because of the copyright, and she doesn't know who put them on. Was it Ancestry? She doesn't know who to contact. So I've got the pictures, but I cannot put them on the screen on the internet. Sorry about that. I was going to do a little video about them. Yeah, what a shame. Would have made a great video. Oh, anyway, these are my distant relatives. One of my earliest mother on my mother's side and her mother's side, etc., was from Siberia, that region. Now part of Russia, unfortunately. I'm not anti-Russia. In fact, I used to love Russia. But when I found out, this idiot me thought Siberia was a country on its own. Idiot me didn't realise it was part of Russia. Anyway, I'm not going to say anything horrible about Russia, in case any Russian people are watching. I've got lots of Russian things in my house still. Haven't thrown them away. Alright, no, I don't dislike anyone any culture, but I'm just sad that people I'm related to, they are dwindling in population. They're mixing with ethnic Russians, and their way of life, well, obviously, you know, they don't want to be reindeer herders and hunters forever. They want the internet and everything else like everyone else. Of course they want to be modern, but it's just sad, you know, especially when languages disappear. Alright. Yeah, I copied this map out, but unfortunately I made a mistake, so I'm not sure I want to show it to you. What was the mistake? Yeah. Mistake was where you can see, like, it looks like a railway track here. Just imagine that's not there. Just imagine that line is not there. This is all China. Wait a minute, am I doing it right? Yeah, so you can see how vast China is. China, what does that say? Mongolia, yeah, Mongolia. Kazakhstan is over here. This part is Russia, Siberia. We call it Siberia, yeah? Mongolia. Sorry. I kept thinking Mongolia was above China. So if that's Mongolia... Oh yeah, there's China there. Wait a minute. Yeah, I'm getting... It's back to front. Yeah. Now... Oh... Yeah. This part is where the Oroqen people live. And... Wait a minute, what does that say? Yeah, and in there is... About here is Inner Mongolia. It's still the same people, but they're part of China, which is called the People's Republic of China. It's communist, as you know. So that part of Inner Mongolia, which has semi-autonomy, oh, it's a republic. That is communist as well. This part is not communist. It's got its own autonomy. It's a separate country. So this is where the Oroqen live. Here. And in here, only about 49. But I don't know what year that figure came from, but 49 is pretty low, isn't it? Some pictures here of an Oroqen woman here wearing traditional garb. The picture looks like it was taken quite a while ago, 1920s or something. And underneath, a man. He looks very thin, doesn't he? Very thin. Oh, actually, it has got the dates there. Oh no, they're not dates. Yeah, I'm wondering why it looks so thin. I don't know, a lot of hard work and not enough food to eat. Maybe that was during the really hard times. Oh, anyway, they don't look exactly Chinese, they look a bit different. I think they look more like Native American people. Just trying to find out. Oh yeah, this bit from Wikipedia I thought was straightforward and easy. Don't worry, I won't do the attributions to Wikipedia. Alright, I've told you roughly where they live. It says they are mainly hunters. Well, I don't think there's many hunters now, but I don't know when this was written this article, but they're mainly hunters and customarily use animal fur and skins for clothing. Obviously not now. Well, some of them do, some of them. Many of them have given up hunting, yeah, and adhered to laws that aimed to protect wildlife in the People's Republic of China. The government has provided modern dwellings for those that who have left behind the traditional way of life. The Oroqen are represented in the People's Congress by their own delegate, which is good, and are a recognised ethnic minority. And China has 56 different ethnic groups that are recognised. Quite a lot, isn't it? Their language, well, I don't know what a northern Tungusic language is, or is it Tungusic? Their language is very similar to the Evenki language. That's the Siberian people. And it is believed that speakers of these two languages can understand 70% of the other language. Their language is still unwritten. However, the majority of the Oroqen are capable of reading. Just see if this is still going. Yeah. Are capable of reading and writing Chinese, and some can also speak the Dawa language. I haven't got a clue about the Dawa language and who speaks it. Wish they told me a little bit more. Alright. They're one of the oldest groups in northeast China. And the name Oroqen means people who keep reindeer or reindeer herders. The ancestors of the Oroqen originally lived in the vast area south of the outer Qingan Mountains and north of Heilongjiang. That doesn't mean anything to me. Was that Siberia or still part of China? I don't know. They once formed part of the ancient people known as the Shiwei. In the 17th century, following invasions by the Russian Empire, some Oroqens moved to the area near the Greater and Lesser Qingan Mountains. This bit is quite sad, actually, but I'm not sure. Oh God, wait a minute. Let me pause it. Alright then, this next part I'm really a bit confused about. I don't know when it happened. I think it was in the 1930s. It was about during the Japanese occupation of Manchuria. So maybe around the First World War, Second World War, I'm not sure. I just think it might be the 1930s, but I might be wrong. And Manchuria, remember, was the old name for that part of Northeast Asia, Northeast China. During the Japanese occupation of Manchuria, the Oroqen suffered a significant population decline. The Japanese distributed opium among them and subjected some members of the community to human experiments. And combined with incidents of epidemic diseases, this caused their population to decline until only 1,000 Oroqen remained. Why pick on these innocent indigenous people, peaceful reindeer herders and hunters? Why? The Japanese banned Oroqen from communicating with other ethnicities and forced them to hunt animals for them in exchange for rations and clothing, which was sometimes insufficient for survival, which led to deaths from starvation and exposure. Opium was distributed to Oroqen adults older than 18 as a means of control. After 2 Japanese troops were killed in a place I can't pronounce, but it doesn't really matter, by an Oroqen hunter, the Japanese poisoned 40 Oroqen to death. The Japanese forced Oroqen to fight for them in the war, which led to a population decrease, or further decrease, of Oroqen people. Even those Oroqen who avoided direct control by the Japanese found themselves facing conflict from anti-Japanese forces of the Chinese Communists, which contributed to their population decline during this period. Why? Attack from both sides, not just the Japanese, but the Chinese Communists. Why? Terrible, sorry. Following the expulsion of the Japanese from Manchuria, the Oroqen came under suspicion from the Chinese Communists as counter-revolutionaries and was subjected to persecution, particularly during the Cultural Revolution between 1966 and 1976. Some Oroqen were driven to suicide due to intense interrogation by Chinese Communist authorities, as well as having to endure public humiliations and beatings. I don't understand it, I really don't. It's like, I don't know if it's still going on with the Uyghurs, put in camps, and all sorts of horrors. They're an ethnic group, aren't they? Why pick on the small group of people just minding their own business? You know, they're not on the Japanese side, they're not on the Chinese Communist side, they're not on no one's side. They're on their side, just living a simple life. Yet they're attacked. That's made me quite sad. I've actually read this before, and it makes me sad every time I read it. Alright, the Oroqen are exogamous. That means that only marriages among members of different clans are being permitted. So they can't marry in the clan. They have to marry out of the clan. I suppose that's because there's so few of them. There would be a lot of children born with birth defects. So they decided to marry out. You can't marry within this clan, you've got to marry in that clan, or that clan. Which I think is sensible. The traditional dwelling, and this is why I like these people, they seem to be really sensible. The traditional dwelling is called I can't pronounce it, but in Chinese it's easier. It's pinyin. Not that I can read Chinese, it's got it in the English pronunciation, pinyin. That's their traditional dwelling. It's probably like a yurt or a gur. And is covered in the summer with birch bark and in the winter with deer furs. But it's very cosy. These dwellings have conical forms, yeah, like a tent, a teepee, and are made out of 20 to 30 pine sticks. I love the smell of pine. The dwellings are usually about 6 metres in diameter. It's quite big, isn't it? And 5 metres in height. In the centre is a fire that serves as a kitchen as well as a source of lighting and heating, I suppose. Birch bark. I love birch water. It's a sap that comes out of the tree. It's really nice. Birch bark is an important raw material in the traditional culture alongside the furs. It serves for the for the preparation of containers of all types, from the manufacture of cradles to boats. With respect to the reindeer herding of the Yavanki, Oroqen and Nanae, which all shared the use of birch bark, it can be said that these cultures are part of a birch bark culture. And even before I knew about these people, I was mad on the trinket boxes you can buy. Well, they're mainly from Russia, intricately made from birch bark. Beautiful, intricate patterns. And a few years ago I wanted to get some, but they were so expensive. But I'll get one day. And that's why I was drawn to them, you see. The call of the wild, the call of my ancestors across, across the aeons of time. Or is it eons of time? I think you know what I'm talking about. The Oroqen is now among China's most highly educated ethnic peoples groups. Religion. Oh no, I wasn't going to talk about religion, was I? I was going to move on to another part that goes into more detail, or I want to say it was more detail, so it was less detail but more interesting. Make sure I'm not going to read exactly the same things that I've read out before. Yeah, it tells you more about the way they used to live. So, traditionally, the Oroqen lived in, like, teepee-like tents, known as pinyin, which was supported by 20 to 30 long poles and covered with birch bark in the summer and deerskin in the winter. And it tells you how long the big dwellings were, 6 metres in diameter, 5 metres in height. At the centre was a fireplace used for cooking, etc., warmth and light. But by the 1950s, most of the people had moved to brick and tile houses provided by the Chinese government. They still erect these houses, sometimes outside their homes or in the forest, to use for recreational purposes, parties, things like that. The same way Mongols do with gurs or yurts. So that's good, isn't it? That they got a place where they can all gather, where the dwellings where they used to live and have a big party. I can just see that. Letting off fireworks and stuff, eating some lovely food, drinking vodka, or what do they drink in China? I'm not sure. But having a good time, dancing, laughing, meeting someone maybe from another clan, you know. Sounds really fun, doesn't it? Yeah, remember, there's not a lot of these people around. I think less than 9,000 now. I'm not sure. Hopefully it's growing. Yeah, birch bark is used to make so many things, even boots and clothing and sleeping bags. Amazing. Yeah, the Oroqen women made beautiful boxes, yeah. And they're known for their skilled needlework. Girls are taught by their mothers when they are still very young to rub fur, dry meat, and gather fruit in the forest. Sounds idyllic in a way, doesn't it? Not if you're a vegan, though. So that's a bad joke, isn't it? Alright, Oroqen girls start to do household work at 13 or 14. Well, I started housework at 5. Nah. This video's going to be in 2 parts, unfortunately. Come on, it's greasy, doesn't it? It's actually not greasy. It's the pink's making it look greasy. Look, you can see some pink. Doesn't look great. Didn't feel good today. I felt really depressed. I thought, how am I going to make a video? And I wanted to make a video about those 2 people. John Teague and his wife, Emma Eliza. I couldn't put the pictures. I was going to do a 10-minute video on Clipchamp. Show their pictures. That wasn't loud. Even though they're my ancestors. Me and my sister mad about ancestors and relatives at the moment. Yeah, it's fascinating. Alright. So that's quite late for a girl to start doing housework. Some cultures it's like 3. Yeah, they sound like great people. I wouldn't mind if I wasn't with Gary Morris, I mean. I could sort of find a way to get there, sort of. I don't know, go to Alaska maybe, cross the Bering Strait. Yeah, do it like that. And then find a nice Oroqen man in his 30s, like good looking. So you're looking for a wife. I'm not in your clan, as you can tell. And he'll say, oh, but you look too old for me. I say, what do you mean? I'm only 27. I say, no, I don't believe you. You look in your 50s. I say, no, I've had a hard life. I said, let's get married and have lots of children. I can't. Oh, no. I forgot I'm 57. I haven't got any eggs left. They've gone. Where was I? Yeah. It says they're honest and friendly people. I believe that. Who always treat their guests well. Well, I would be treated well, wouldn't I? They say, who's that mad old woman walking around her pinions with pink hair? Who the hell is she? Right, now to communicate with them. A lot of them speak Russian, but I only know a few words like pajolsta. Does that mean please? Oh yeah, можно вина, пожалуйста. That means can I have some more wine, please? It's the only Russian I know. People who lodge in an Oroqen home would often hear the housewife say to the husband early in the morning, "I'm going to hunt some breakfast for our guest, and you go to fetch water." And all I have to do is lie on this nice, soft deerskin bed with deerskin blankets covering me. Just my head peeping out like that. When the guest has washed, the guest is me, remember. When the guest is washed, the woman with gun slung over her shoulders. Well, with one gun, there must be more than one gun. With a gun slung over her shoulders, yeah, that makes sense. Would return with a rowback, buck. Yeah, I think they mean a roebuck. Some of them still preserve the pillar. This doesn't make sense. Some of them still preserve the pillar to the immortals near their house. Sorry, this was foreign, I think. It was Russian, so I didn't translate that well. Yeah, I think it was Russian. In the old days, life was hard. Yeah, I bet it was. Shortages of food were a concern. Many Oroqen made their living by hunting, raising and herding reindeer, whose embryos, penises, tails, and antlers are used in Chinese medicine. Oh, that's terrible, isn't it? Many Oroqen still subsist off fish, reindeer meat, and wild plants. Oh, many. Meat is often preserved by smoking or drying. Raw reindeer liver is considered a delicacy. Fermented mare's milk, which is obviously a female horse, is a popular alcoholic drink. I don't know how alcoholic it is. I think they can make it quite strong, actually. I'm not sure. I'd like to try that. Yeah, I would. I wouldn't mind having a go at that. It is not clear how much the Oroqen have been affected by modern life, and many of their old traditions remain. Oh, that's good. Obviously, their hunting traditions are dying out because of the environment, I suppose. The what do you call it? Environmental crisis, whatever. It's affected the whole world, doesn't it? So, yeah, hunting traditions are dying and as well, they've got shops to go to as well. Many of those who even remember them are very old. An Oroqen named Bai Ying, who has worked as a cultural researcher in Beijing, told Time magazine, I suppose, they can't adjust to the rhythm of modern life. He's talking about the elderly Oroqen people. I suppose it must be completely weird for them, modern life. They can't farm. Oh, I'm talking about young people. I don't know. They can't farm, so they drink every day. Oh yeah, older people that weren't used to farming, obviously, they were hunters. They were hunters and gatherers and herders. So farming was something they didn't understand. So that's what they mean by modern life, farming. They can't farm, so they drink every day. Sorry, it's not translated very well, so I have to try and work out. These days, many Oroqen children speak only Mandarin, and the Oroqen are a minority in their own banner. I think they mean region. A minority. Strange. And these, of course, they don't know their language, Oroqen, so they speak Mandarin Chinese, which is Mandarin is the main language of China. Cantonese is the second main language of China. I do not like Mandarin Chinese, the way it sounds. I prefer Cantonese. Mandarin is a bit annoying. I hope no one who's a Mandarin Chinese speaker is watching this, but I prefer Cantonese. I just think it's a bit more easier on the ear. That's all. It's like I don't like Swiss German. I'm half Swiss German. Swiss German is a horrible language to listen to. It's horrible. And I've had it yodeled. So can you imagine that? Swiss German yodeled. Not nice. Alright. Of the 300,000 people that live in that area, I suppose. Yeah, in that area, 90% are Han Chinese, yeah. Manchuria, yeah. 90% are Han Chinese who speak Mandarin. Many others are Mongolians. On assimilation, Hing Chao, chairman of the Hong Kong-based Oroqen Foundation, oh that's good, maybe I could get in contact with that foundation to get some more information. I think that would be a very good idea. Told Time, so I think that means Time magazine, yeah. They are assimilated, yes, but they are not integrated into the mainstream of society. Sad, isn't it? So I want to find out more reasons why they're not more integrated. And is that because they don't want to be integrated? And I think maybe the answer is yes. They want their old way of life back. I don't blame them, because it sounds quite idyllic in a way, but it was hard. But I think they were happy. And I don't think they're very happy anymore. Alright, I think part 2 I may do tomorrow, or I might do another day. But there will be a part 2 to the Oroqen people, my distant cousins. Hope you like this video. Hope you found it interesting. Have you done anything to find out about your ancestry? Or aren't you bothered about your ancestors or distant relatives? I'd like to know. Oh, alright then. It's pretty late and I'm getting tired. Didn't feel great today. Got a bad hair day as well. Part 2 will probably be a quicker video. I'm fed up doing long videos. Straining my voice. Alright, I'll see you soon. Bye.